My name is Seth Mandelbaum. I'm the chairperson of the Board of Trustees of the Westchester Parks Foundation, and I'm thrilled to be here today in New Rochelle at this tree that was planted as part of a grant that the WPF was awarded from the New York State Urban Forestry Council. It celebrates New Rochelle's 29th year in the Tree City USA community program. And we decided to plant it here at this Westchester County Park that served a critically important function during the COVID-19 pandemic. Along with a plaque that we'll unveil in a few moments, the tree serves as a dedication to the women and men of the Westchester County Department of Parks, Recreation, and Conservation, who took care of our parks here and throughout Westchester County every day during the COVID-19 pandemic. What better way to recognize their service to our county than by planting a tree in the epicenter of where it all began in New Rochelle. Thank you to all the PRC employees for your hard work and dedication in keeping our parks open for the people of Westchester County to use during the past year. Now I'd like to introduce our county executive, George Latimer.
Thank you, Seth, and I want to thank the Westchester Parks Foundation, also represented here, Joe Stout and others, for their great philanthropy and the involvement that helps us expand our programs here in Westchester County. The expansion of Bicycle Sunday is a different thing we're very proud of, is in no small amount due to their effort and we thank them for that, as well as now today we want to thank the New York State Urban Forestry Council for this donation and the planting of this tree here and what it represents. And I think Seth said it correctly, is that there's something substantive here, there's something symbolic here. The fact that there is money and resources to plant a tree which will give shade and comfort for years to come, long after I'm here, long after most of us are here, is a good thing to do. It's a positive thing. It's good on environmental levels. It's good for scenic enjoyment of the park and so forth. But it's also symbolic of rebirth. And that rebirth has been very much a concern in all of our minds because of the COVID-19 outbreak. And the first documented cases here in New Rochelle, the first containment zone and the first shutdown of things began here in New Rochelle, and it spread elsewhere in the county and in the state and the nation. And I think this is a sign of rebirth, the sign that we're coming out of this. I'm not capable to be able to dictate when we are officially out of this. I have a sense that there'll always be COVID amongst us, and there'll always be vaccinations, and there'll always be a protection that we're going to have. But that the heart of this we've seen, and hopefully what we're going to see now is the rebirth of the things that we have to do. It's also very important because we're here at a park that is now going to come back to Westchester County use after being a major contribution by the county to the state in fighting the COVID-19 vaccine. If you go back to that first month of March 2020, when the challenge was testing to see if you had COVID, to be able to determine if you should be isolated or quarantined to not spread the disease, we had a county health department and brave nurses that went out in teams to test, and there was no way that they could ever test in an in-home setting as many people as needed. You needed to have a mass testing site, and that is exactly what Glen Island had become, and we can still see the remnants of it. The testing element has been shut down because now testing is plentiful. In the same way that vaccines started in January in a few places, and we turned over the county center to the state, and that became an epicenter for us to vaccinate people. And now the Westchester vaccination rate, as we approach 80% of adults over 18 with at least one shot, is all a terrific sign. We're well ahead of the goal that the president set for the nation here in Westchester County. But getting back this facility that was so important in our fight against COVID, to bring it back to its original purpose as an area for a beach. This is the largest beach we have in our county, pools, a beach system and pool system, and then also to use this park again for the various picnics and barbecues that it had become known for, as well as for people to walk around. That's a sign of rebirth, that Glen Island comes back into our inventory. I think what it shows is the resiliency of all of us, and for today's purposes, particularly the hard work and the professionalism and the resiliency of the Westchester Parks Recreation and Conservation Department. We take so much for granted in this society, and I do no different than anybody else. When I get up in the morning and I shave and I wash the water down the sink, I take for granted that there is a sewer treatment structure and process by which that wastewater is properly treated before it goes out to that Long Island Sound. And I take for granted when I drive, I happen to live near Playland Parkway, when I drive on that parkway and I go over little culvert bridges and get onto the New York State Thruway to come to work, that somebody from the DPW Department of Westchester County and the contractors maintain that road and fix that bridge to make sure that it's stable. And I'm no different than anybody else. We just assume these things are always there for us, and it gives us a sense of comfort. And the 55 parks that Westchester County has gives aid and comfort to people in so many different ways. We have golf courses, we have nature preserves, we have an amusement park, we have 3 beaches and 4 pools open right now, a 5th pool that will reopen in the future. And that is, for people during a pandemic, a lifeline. The people who went out and used these parks of all different nature to walk around, to play golf, to do whatever it was, those were acceptable recreational alternatives. You couldn't go to a movie theater, couldn't go to a baseball game, you couldn't do the kind of things that you would normally do. And this Parks Department kept it going all that time. And the people who worked in the Parks Department were just as susceptible to getting the disease as anybody else is. When somebody came down with COVID, the people that they had contact with had to quarantine. And so the management of this department had to work at various times with a less number of people to be able to accomplish their mission. All of this stuff is not sexy, newsworthy. We have our friends here from ABC TV. They look for an important, big story. I'm not sure anything I've said is an important, big story. But I know, as a county executive, that this county doesn't operate unless the people who run this Parks Department do this work every single day, and all those other departments do this every single day. And I'm personally deeply appreciative. And I think when I drive in here and I watch the people walking around, exercising, those who are going to be here to picnic, those who are going to be on the beach, they're not going to think, oh, I owe the Parks Department anything. But that is serving people in a direct in a structured way and in a positive way. And that is part of what today is about too, as we plant this tree. So with that, let me introduce the person who heads our Parks and Recreation Department. I'm very proud that she is our commissioner. And as with many commissioners, when I came into office, I maintained quite a few of the commissioners that my predecessor had. It was a change of party when I came into office. But I knew that we had professionals in these departments, and I did not want professionals to be subject to the political process, and that's proven by the work that Kathy O'Connor and her team has done. So next, our Commissioner of Parks, Recreation, and Conservation, Commissioner Kathy O'Connor.
Thank you very much, our County Executive George Latimer. First, I'd like to just really recognize the Westchester Parks Foundation for once again giving us this honor. It really means a lot to us, and the fact that it's symbolic, being a tree here at Glen Island. And as the county executive mentioned a number of times, this was the epicenter. My daughter actually works for the city of New Rochelle, and I felt badly for her because she said, yeah, it's great to be known as the hub of COVID. I told her it will get better, just hang in, and that was 18 months ago. So here we are through a tremendous amount of effort on a lot of people's parts. We're happy to say goodbye to the tents and the people that worked diligently. Hundreds of thousands of people were tested here. Just as in the county center, over 320,000 people have been vaccinated. So even though it took away from our Parks Department our usual facilities and activities, we're very proud of the fact that our 2 facilities really helped combat the pandemic. So again, with Westchester Parks Foundation recognizing us with this lovely tree, once again, congratulations for all the grants that you were able to get. I wanted to give a special thank you to Erin Cordonier, the volunteer coordinator, for a little while longer. Well, actually, probably not. She has a new person, Morgan Fiore, who is taking her place. Erin is staying within the department, and Adam Littman. They work so well with our department, with our staff, and we are so appreciative of all the work that we don't pay for. But the benefits are endless from what they've given us. We are now going with the tagline. I'd like to say I came up with it, but our marketing director, Linda Lavallo, did. We're naturally essential. We always have felt, personally, I felt that the Parks Department is essential. People have written us over the years, but really over the past year, that they feel semi-normal walking at Kensico. They are commenting left and right on our Facebook pages saying thank you, thank you. We had 22,000 people at the 4 pools over 3 days. We had unusually hot weather, but it was unbelievable, and they were thanking us again for being open. Here at Glen Island, as the county executive already mentioned, we are opening tomorrow, July 3rd. Unfortunately, weather might not be in our favor, but that's okay. As you can see, most of our department is here working, getting everything ready, and we're really looking forward to it. Something different this year is Glen Island Beach and Park will be open 7 days a week. We're opening at 10 o'clock in the morning for the beach and closing at 6:30 every day until Labor Day. So we're very excited about that. We really, really need lifeguards. So if anybody has any connection to lifeguards, we're actually hiring at 15 years old. They have to be certified. We train them. We pay for it. And the hourly rate is good. We've gotten to $16 an hour. So we really, really need lifeguards. It's a great job. It's a great learning experience for young people. It's also a social thing for them, too. So if you know of anybody, please contact our office, and we will put everything in motion. So we're very excited about that. Again, I'd like to also thank our park staff. First Deputy Commissioner, they're behind me, Peter Totaglia, one of our Deputy Commissioners, one of the newest commissioners, but he's learning real quickly, baptism by fire. Andre Early is here, and under Andre is the Parks Division, the Recreation Division, and the County Center. So he has a few things going on under his purview. But again, I'd like to thank Westchester County Parks Department, Westchester Parks Foundation, particularly Joe Stout, the executive director, and everybody else that works with him. And then finally, as I've said before, and I really mean it, and I don't say it because he gives me a very nice introduction every time, we have been able to accomplish so much in the last 3.5, almost 4 years now, because this county executive, George Latimer, is a true friend, a supporter, and a believer in what we do and what we need to do to continue to be great and to continue to just excel. So thank you to the county executive, his administration, the Board of Legislators, and one final shout out to our chairman of the board, who, when he gets his teeth into something, it really happens. He's been helping me to get Glen Island closed and reopened again and that's Mr. Henry Neal. So thank you, Henry. Thank you to everybody. Have a wonderful 4th of July and a safe one. Thank you.
Thank you, George and Kathy, for being here today. I'd also like to acknowledge fellow trustees from the Westchester Parks Foundation, Henry Neal, who was just mentioned, who's also chair of the PRC board at the county, and Nat Bourne, longtime supporter and trustee of the Parks Foundation. And we also are pleased to have Gene Zimmerman, who is a grants committee member from the New York State Urban Forestry Council that paid for this tree. They are in the process at the Forestry Council of sending out applications for their next round of grants. So if you're interested, reach out to them directly. And I'm going to ask Gene and Erin to come up to help reveal a beautiful plaque dedicated to the Parks Department employees. So if we could have a countdown from 5, please, in a moment. Sure. Okay, are we ready? Okay. We can count from 30 instead of 5 if you want. All right, ready? We're going to count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And there we go. And it says, in honor of the men and women, Westchester County Parks, who have kept our parks clean, safe, and open in 2020. So thank you to all the Parks Department employees. And now it says group photo, so I'm going to go.